Our recording and our broadcast, just wanted to announce, sorry. Didn't want to be surprised by that.
Yeah, understood.
And I'll look to the audience, and I think Barbara's gonna be there if.
Yeah. She was just the only attendees.
You can see me doing the promotion.
We gotta get her a new link.
Yeah.
Wait for Barbara to move over.
So, here's over here. We, because we're controlling visuals for good reason.
All right, let's bring this meeting to order. The Newburyport Conservation Commission meeting taking place in the Senior Center boardroom and on the Zoom platform. This meeting's being recorded. First, I would like to welcome Kelsey Sullivan, our new environmental planner and conservation administrator, as well as Julie Gutterson, our new old commission member and administrator. With that done, let's go on to the meeting minutes from was it 9/16? Does anybody have any comments or questions or changes? No?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Okay, roll call. Dan Warshall,
yes.
Barb Riley,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Janet Daisley.
Yeah.
Julie Godfreyson.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any Plum Island updates?
The only thing too, as I would mention was, I think I mentioned previously, but there'll be that, I would say a formality, but the formality of the permit coming to the Conservation Commission for the demolition of the singular house on Plum Island. That's part of the FEMA buyout program, so that'll be coming in, I think, based on the schedule and the need for an extended closing date, with the seller. We are probably gonna have to do the work in the early spring. Julie and I have already talked about this just because of the difficulty with doing work out there in the spring, in the summer season. So having all that done kind of quickly in the spring season. At any rate, that, and then we also just found out that Salisbury, who had applied for a grant, and it had been, packaged as a sort of regional, tool. Got a CCM grant to do some, beach migration or sand migration, beach nourishment sort of analysis. To try to at least, get us going with having our own, sort of comprehensive regular data about, the patterns and whatnot. So we can talk more about that, as we get more information about that and, where that comes back in here, but because of the constant erosion issues and issues with the jetty and dredging and routine things like that, we thought, and they were initiating this one, it seemed to be a benefit to all of us, for us to sort of piggyback on that, so.
Okay. Alrighty, let us move on to certificates of compliance, etc. First one is Kevin Martin, 565th Street, request for certificate.
It's me.
Okay.
And by the way, I can pull up any of the visuals that you provided, so like.
Yeah, I mean, that's
The
pretty much,
plan,
that's pretty much it.
yeah.
We built the deck in 2019. I worked with Julia. I know you don't remember me at all.
Yeah.
But we went through the whole process. I think we finished it somewhere mid-December 2019, and then COVID hit and the world ended, and we never really followed up with kind of what we had to do. But the main thing I had was, we had to make sure that we planted or replanted the vegetation that we covered with the deck that was built. Obviously you can see that we destroyed it there. That's a couple weeks ago. That was a COVID project for us and kept us busy. I think we replanted like 100 to 120 shoots of dune grass across the front of there or around the side. So that, as you can see, it grew back in. So that was the last thing I knew we had to do until we decided to sell our house, and then this whole thing happened. So I've been running around like crazy for the last 3 weeks trying to get you guys all the information you need to make sure we can close this out. And that's where we're at now.
Okay.
Do we have
you just shut yourself off, Steve.
Do we have any pictures of the grass to look at?
Apologies, that would actually be my mistake, Stephen. I was trying to show a moment ago and I had forgotten to toggle for Zoom folks to see from the plan view, so that's my bad. Let me just flip through this quickly so you can see, what I was intending to show was the photographs that they had submitted. And so you see a couple here just showing that I think it was a, pretty decent job in, the establishment of that vegetation.
My mom's actually like a plant person, so she spliced and did stuff with the
Wow.
beach plums,
Yeah.
and so that.
Is that what these are?
That's what that is, that's just like.
Can you see that, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It does. It's sad we had to sell.
Oh.
So obviously doesn't see any issues with the request for certificate and.
So, anybody, got any questions?
Kevin, did you have any deviations from the approved plan?
I think that's pretty much exact
Okay.
to what it was. And we had and I found an engineer within a couple days and he came up and did the whole thing, so then he wrote that he didn't see any issues with it either.
Okay,
Make a motion.
make a motion?
Take your first motion, that's your first motion, that's your.
Make a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 565th Street.
Second.
Second, all right,
You opened it and you closed it, so
Roll
I
call.
appreciate that.
Janet Dennison,
Yes.
Julie Gofferson,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barb Riley,
I can, well, I wasn't here at the time, but it looks fine, so yes,
well, yeah, that's okay, you can vote on this too.
yeah.
Okay, Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right,
Thank you guys. Can I ask what the process is at this point? Like, when does that?
Oh, we'll follow tomorrow on that.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be very quick. Kelsey and I will follow up on that tomorrow morning.
I'm supposed to close on Thursday, so that's.
Understood, yeah, no, and the office was aware of that and the timing, obviously, we're trying to cycle through here, efficiently, for your purposes, so we'll circle back tomorrow on this. We know that this is kind of queued up and timely. so,
Yeah. We have your email, and did you submit the request through OpenGov?
Is that the portal thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then the actual certificate will also be issued through OpenGov.
Okay,
So you should be able to see it and download it from that.
and that's
Portal.
official, that's good.
And that will be official because the signatures are all electronic, so you'll be able to submit that to the registry of deeds.
right.
Or you can wait for us to send you one certified mail or come and pick a hard.
So do I have to go to the deed place?
I think you can also do that
You
online.
can do it online, you're basically downloading a PDF and then uploading, but basically, yeah, you can basically do a lot of that stuff now in the registry. I don't want to pretend on all the details of their process, but there's a lot more things you can do now electronically, including stuff like this.
That's
Yeah,
useful.
yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Okay. Can I get a motion to open the public hearings?
So moved?
Second.
All right, roll call, Janet Daisley,
Yes.
Julie Gofferson,
Yeah.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barb Riley,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
I vote yes. First item is Judith Welch, 84 and 101 Curzon Mill Road.
Yep, good evening, this is Tom Hughes with Hughes Environmental. I did request a continuance to that, but I did want to just explain that I got a more detailed plan from Steve Sawyer. And then I did not have time to make sure that that was the final version. So we just want to push that to one more meeting and we'll be back in front of you to close this out at the next meeting.
Sorry, just Tom, for clarification, when you say next meeting, you mean 2 weeks from now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming that's your next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have any questions for Tom? Before we do that? If not, take a motion for continuance.
Motion to continue to October 21st?
Second.
All right, Janet Daisley,
Yes.
Julie Gofferson,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barb Riley,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay. Next item is 5 Basin Street. Notice of intent.
Okay, for this one, I want to give you kind of a quick update. We've got the structural plans. And after getting the structural plans, I was able to meet with the assistant director for chapter 91. As you may recall, one of the DEP comments was we needed to verify that what we were proposing would be seen by chapter 91 as maintenance. And they did confirm that they would see that as maintenance. They did say we do need to renew the license, so we'll be applying to renew the existing license on that. And she suggested that since we were doing that, that we should actually add the deck structure and the proposed ramp and float onto the chapter 91 plan set as well. So we're, in fact, tomorrow I'll be reaching out to Everett Chandler to begin production of those chapter 91 plans, and we'll get that process going. And now that I've got that, I've got a draft regulatory analysis. I just want to read through one more time, get it over to Lisa Mead to read through. And I also do have a reach out to Nero because we just had a case down in Harwich in the southeast region. It involved a revetment on a coastal dune, and they had us go through a process that on the one hand made sense, but it's something that it's the first time that I'm aware of it's been done in the state, and I need to find out whether that's something that they want us to do, you know, from now on for revetments on coastal dunes. And it has to do with down there we had to file a version of a notice of non-significance, but it was they had us make a like a tweak to the form. It was a little bit odd, but it kind of made sense on the one hand. So I want to just iron that out as well. And so I anticipate we'll be back with that regulatory analysis and with me having settled that issue one way or the other with DEP prior to the next meeting. So 2 weeks.
Can I ask
But
can
yeah.
Sorry, Tom, when you're talking about this regulatory analysis and this different process, is that related to the chapter 91 license or to this?
No. So that is, so the chapter 91 license, chapter 91 had no problem with what we were proposing. Said it definitely, like, if we didn't have to renew the license, it would just have been a 30-day notice and they would have been fine with it. But since we have to renew the license, we've got to go through the process for that. But they had no issues with this. The process is a Wetland Protection Act process. There's a form that you guys have never seen. I mean, it exists on their website. It's Form 6. It's a notice of non-significance. And in the past, when I've even thought about filing one of those, DEP has been very hesitant to have those go forward, but they came up in the Southeast, came up with a unique way of tailoring it to actually make some sense. So I need to just know whether or not the Northeast is in the same place as the Southeast on that.
Have they provided any comments on this through the DEP portal?
Yeah, the DEP comments were really primarily about making sure that chapter 91 saw this as a maintenance project. There might have been one or two others, and that I'll be responding in writing to their entire comment, but the main one was the chapter 91. And now that I've met with them with the structural plans and they've reviewed it, the comment from DEP on the project, is basically addressed. But again, I'll be doing that in writing and sending a copy into DEP just as a formal response to the DEP comments.
Okay.
And then, Andy, if you can just sort of flip down through the pages, I don't want to spend a ton of time, but what we did is the structure is basically supported in the same location as the current posts and as the place where it rests at the back on the revetment itself. Essentially a portion of the revetment almost serves as the foundation for that backboard on the existing deck. So there's piles in the line of the current deck, which are the last helical piles that you see, and then the rest is just held on a cantilever on that. If we can go to the next slide. There's a profile view, which just shows the licensed revetment versus the current condition and how it's being reconstructed to get back to the licensed version with the deck shown with the helicals, and to remind the commission, by using helicals as opposed to posts, the structure will be able to resist uplift a little bit more, and by replacing the solid decking with through flow decking, it will have less uplift forces on it. And we're also increasing the elevation of it by a foot, which means it will be more resilient during the more typical sort of northeast nor'easters or the big, king tide storm type things that we get, as well as during the bigger storm events, because with the through flow decking, the floodwaters would be less reflected and more able to flow through, and the helical anchors will essentially keep it from being dislodged out of place. We go to the next one. And that's a profile. So the set of stairs is a key part of the Chapter 91 license. And that is something that they're currently unsafe, needs to be rebuilt. So, that's the profile view where the stairs are. If we can go to the next. And then the other end of the property is kind of a hybrid bulkhead revetment. And so that's being replaced as well. That's all part of that Chapter 91 license. And this is the plan for doing it. So we rebuild the bulkhead part and the revetment part. And then again, the details on all of that. And we're not changing any of the elevations on the dune side or on the beach side. The dune underneath the revetment stone, where it's held in place by the stone, is really not functional as dune. It certainly serves the purpose of flood damage, prevention and all that, but it doesn't do it as a dune. It doesn't have interchange of sediment. It doesn't, doesn't act like a dune, and that's part of the basis for that southeast region's requirement in this Harwich one for us to file this form, which I'm trying to sort out. But what we're doing will improve the floodplain function, and it will, restore the Chapter 91 structure back to the conditions of when it was licensed, and actually better functional in terms of flood damage prevention. I think that's the last page, right, Andy?
Just
Just some pictures that Lisa O'Donnell put in. And then one of the things that you can see from here is a lot of the revetment is actually under the sand. The sand, and there's some notes in her plans that call for this, and I think we had talked about this in the earlier hearings. Any sand that is built up over the revetment is going to be placed off to the side. When the revetment is rebuilt, it will be put right back to the current grade. So that there'll be no change in the beach profile or form. The sand that is over the revetment is, it sort of comes and goes, and when it's over a stone, once the water hits a stone, it doesn't stand there very long. But when you have enough calm conditions, the roughened surface the stone provides can actually trap sand. And to that extent, it actually does perform some beach function in allowing the beach to do well.
Tom, I forget, are the vertical boards staying or being?
That's an unanswered question with Lisa O'Donnell, because the part of the purpose is to prevent ice from getting underneath. And I think that she had a solution that was opening it up, but not 100%. But there's nothing showing on that plan. So I just want to confirm, but I know that the way she's designed it, it's far more durable, so we may not need it. She does have, if you see, okay, actually, so on that version right there, if you take a look, there's a note on the leading face. It says, 3-inch gaps for fascia boards. So she's opened it up, but still left the fascia boards there for that.
What is-
They look like they're horizontal, not vertical.
Um,
That's from the top,
The plan
right?
view.
yeah, that's
Oh,
from the top, and then
Okay.
on the profile on the right, you can see they're vertical.
Okay.
Tom, why, again, you mentioned that Lisa likes the vertical planks to prevent ice from going under, but why? It's a
Well,
revet-
so it's part of the license structure, or not the license, it's part, the license includes some bulkheads. The existing deck that has been there has had these to prevent ice from getting in and under.
That's for the
And right, and that's been there from day one, so we are trying to reduce that. But the fear is that if we let the ice get in, then it starts, you know, either causing damage to the structure or starting to knock around the revetment stone. So we did open it up, but not, not 100%. So it's an improvement over the existing.
I know I've brought this up previously on this project, but, I feel like it's important to still identify why this reconstructed deck is permittable.
Right,
And
and that's what, as I indicated, the regulatory analysis will be coming in, and I've been through it in detail. Lisa Mead still needs to review it, but we're confident that it does actually fit within the regulations and the ordinance when you go through it.
Okay, I mean, just on page 9 of the narrative, like number 4 highlights that any replacement of any structure in this zone would have to be elevated. And so even though this was there before, this is a replacement.
Yeah, so in the narrative that you're going to be getting, which is going to be updated, I'll give you red line, strikeout, and clean. We've expanded on that section, and when you read into the nuances of it, this actually would not have to be elevated, and I'll go through all that at the next meeting once you've got that in writing.
So Tom, the deadline for getting that would be today, for the next meeting.
Isn't it a week ahead?
We have 1 week longer to get that in.
Okay, well, can we make sure we get it in plenty
Yeah.
of time and not
Yep.
the day of?
Yep.
Agree, I would say, I would just offer this, sorry, through the chair. I would also agree, just, on behalf of the office as well as the commission members, to allow the commission members time to digest that information. A week in advance is when we prepare the packet, but also frankly, since there's a legal question involved here, it looks like, to allow, that to be digested in particular, so thank you.
Yeah, okay, and if, look, if we don't, then we could talk about, do we go one more, but I know we really would like to get this in on time and just try to get this thing moving forward with you guys at that next meeting. And as I said, it's already written. Got a couple calls into Jill at DEP and have not heard back yet. And while I'm on the West Coast, I will still try to call her in the morning before the conference starts.
And I would just add into that in terms of preparing for whatever this upcoming submittal is, that I don't believe that the vertical planks are allowable either. I can't, if you could highlight where you think that might be
Sure,
allowable in the regulations, that would be great too.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's directly addressed in that. That is something I'll have to add in because I don't think I hit it with the clarity that you're looking for, but I'll make sure I do.
Okay, Barb, you got something?
Me? No, I was just thinking about it being lattice, considered lattice, but it's already been addressed.
Okay. Do we have any more questions? Any questions from the public? Raise your digital hand. All right. Not seeing any. Take a motion for continuance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Janet Daisley,
Yes.
Julie Godfreyson,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barb Riley,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, Robert Phillips, 6 Wildwood Drive, notice of intent.
Yep, present.
Okay.
Hi, Robert, this is Andy Port, Director of Planning. I'm just running the visuals right now, so we have the materials you submitted. I realize you submitted several versions, so I just want to make sure we have the most recent version that we're looking at, because I know there was a discussion at the last meeting, right? So this plan is responsive, I think, to those comments.
Yeah, it should be. Is there someone from the Hancock Associates should be on? If you can
Well,
unmute him.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I thought you had unmuted, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm just the client. Thank you.
Maybe go right ahead, go ahead.
All right. Can everyone hear me? This is David Cowell with Hancock Associates.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thanks for promoting me. Yeah, so just to recap, this is a continued public hearing on a notice of intent filed for a single-family home addition located in the buffer zone. As of the last hearing, I think we were pretty close. Just to recap, this is a relatively innocuous plan as far as notice of intents go. It's in the buffer zone. The proposed addition is actually going over what exists today as a wooden deck. So it doesn't include any clearing of native vegetation. It doesn't include any real expansion of what exists as developed surface areas. So as of the close of the last hearing, the Conservation Commission had asked for 2 minor plan revisions, one of which, where that cursor is pointed now, is an erosion control detail, and that's located between the retaining wall and the existing swimming pool deck to the side there. And that's just, I mean, we don't anticipate any movement of sediment from this area, but out of abundance of caution, we've spec'd that. And then the second plan notation we added is a stockpile area for dirt during construction. We've located that out of the front of the house, and we've located that entirely outside of buffer zone. So that's, just outside of DEP and Concom jurisdiction, in a nice upland area at the front of the house. I think the preferred method would be direct load into trucks and have the trucks go off site, but if necessary, they have a stockpile location identified. Those are the only 2 revisions we were asked to make. And with that, I would turn it back to the Conservation Commission for any questions that might be lingering.
I think I had asked if the client would be willing to add some native vegetation somewhere on the property.
There's not a ton of opportunity for that. And, and I believe as of the last hearing, that was optional, but no, we hadn't planned on any plantings. It's really, unless otherwise mandated, but otherwise it's lawn out there, and it's pretty much impervious over impervious.
Right. I mean, I was thinking Andy, if you could move the plan a little bit, there's a shed way out in the back there. Yeah.
I mean, that is wooded area. If you want us to put some native plantings back there to get approval, we certainly will. But that is a wooded area.
Okay. All right. Well, no, there's no requirement. It was just a request.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We're happy to fulfill that request if needed.
Okay, we have any other questions for this? All right, hearing none. Anybody from the public have questions about this? I don't see anybody. All right, I'll take a motion.
Motion to
Motion.
close the public hearing?
Second,
Okay, roll call, Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Bart Riley,
yes,
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Julie Gafferson,
Yes.
Janet Daisley.
Yeah.
And I vote yes. All right, let's, go into the, order of conditions. Do we have any, we have no special conditions for this, do we?
No.
Nothing came up at the office, I think, or they just, you know, staffing anyway, we're identified here for them.
We do? Okay, in that case, I'll take another motion.
Motion to issue the order of conditions?
Second.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, are you referring to, is the first one? Or just-
6 Wildwood Drive.
Okay,
Wildwood,
sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry,
just want to make sure.
Yeah. 6 Wildwood.
My bad, I got it.
Yeah, it's okay, I just want to make sure for the record, yeah.
Okay, so we have it, and, roll call. Janet Daisley,
Yes.
Julie Gafferson.
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barb Riley,
yes.
Ann Warshaw,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. Much
Thank
appreciated.
you. Appreciate
Take
it.
care, everyone.
Okay. I will take a motion to close the public hearings.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Janet Daisley.
Yeah.
Julie Gafferson.
Yeah.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barb Riley,
Yes,
Ann Warshaw,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay, anything new on the 8 S Street?
No, I don't know if Julie wants to chime in here. We had a brief conversation and we've been onboarding Kelsey Sullivan, who we're gonna obviously properly introduce you to at the moment, fully, but just to show on the screen here, the property we're talking about. Julie might have some of the greater context on this going back. We carried this for a couple of agendas. We're gonna reach out to Lisa Mead, who I think was handling or going to respond to this matter, but nothing's been coming back in recent time on this. So we thought we'd pick that up again, try to get you more information on that from that end. Julie might be able to offer some more. And obviously Kelsey will be taking over with this sort of discussion of where we get into enforcement things and where we leave off with folks, so.
Yeah, so you guys all might remember this was first, I mean, it happened years ago, I would say probably in 2020 maybe. They constructed that trailer, which you can see at the northern, edge of the property. Which they call a trailer because it does sit on a platform with wheels. But it hasn't moved, and they didn't get a building permit, much less a conservation commission permit to build it at the time. And it's been there ever since, so it's now on the assessor's card as a structure on the lot, so that's what prompted us to, go back and look at it and realize that it never got permits. And so we issued an enforcement order or person notice violation, and I believe that may be where it stands because the property owner then hired, Lisa Mead's office. Ryan was their representative. And he spoke with the commission several times about their intent to, move forward with a notice of intent for this. We, advised them that because, the size of that proposed structure would actually be larger than a 20% increase in the footprint on the lot, and it is in the V zone, that they wouldn't receive be able to receive an order of conditions for it. They insisted that they were still moving forward with an architect to design something to remain there permanently. And they would be back in touch with us with that notice of intent, and we've just never gotten it. And so the whole process now has been at least a year or approximately a year. Where they've just continued to give us these updates with no actual action. Or addressing the fact that it's still there. So I mean, it remains a zoning violation as well as a conservation commission violation. So the question now is, what do we ask them?
That's a good point too. We'll coordinate with Jennifer Blanchet, the zoning administrator, because obviously there's a parallel there with enforcement, response mechanism and so forth. And I know sometimes we, on the zoning end, there's a, holding up on that end because someone's pursuing something through a conservation and that might be relevant in terms of resolving an issue one way or another through the codes and so forth. Here, it doesn't look there's been any progress whatsoever, responsiveness to try to address it. So we should, get them in here, one or the other. So we might actually expect them at the next meeting to be able to speak to this matter. I think would be appropriate.
I
at this
think
point.
that's the appropriate next step, and if they don't, or if they indicate that they don't have a plan to move forward with the notice of intent, then I think an enforcement order is the next
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
We
It looks
could
like it
also
might be
consider
over-
finding them.
Barb, what were you saying?
I'm sorry, it looks like it might be over the property line if those property lines are accurate. as well.
I don't know, Julie might recall from looking at some site plans, I don't know whether this GIS is, remember, not always accurate for that, it's not a survey plan. So, and Plum Island is also particularly unusual, where some of the lines fall out there, so don't take that as gospel, I don't know. It may be just that it's right on the line, one or the other, but it may not be directly straddling it, I don't know from this that that's the case.
I don't either. I don't know that a survey has been done. Again, that's something that Jennifer Blanchet would have to weigh in on from zoning.
Yeah, well, we can follow up on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, you guys talk with Jennifer and see what she thinks and really, if they're not moving at all on anything, then
Yeah.
I think the enforcement order and maybe our first finding ever. Since there's a level of intransigence.
So would that entail taking it, removing the structure, or finding them with?
Yeah, I would think that an enforcement order would require it to be removed, because it is a violation and it doesn't meet any of the regulations for that area right now as it stands. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'll leave it to the commission, but I would also argue that given the passage of time, at least, irrespective of any change of council or whatnot they might add, given the amount of time that's been given for them to try to come in and resolve the issue or present something or
Right.
whatever or another, that jumping now, so to speak, to enforcement to remove it from the property probably makes sense in this context, because it's not like they haven't been told there's an issue, or it's not like they're not aware of that, so it might make sense to just be direct about the fact that either it goes and
Yeah,
you're responsive to that immediately, or, if you want to have some other discussion about some other path, that's fine, but like,
Yeah.
you need to have a direction now that it doesn't belong there, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so pending your discussion with Jennifer, we can prepare an enforcement order for it. And send it to them and give them a timeline.
Mhm.
And we'll let them know the next meeting, assume you want it still in the same place, but sort of after the public hearings, to.
Yes. Get it. Violations can wait.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have anything else?
Well, first, I just, again, I know we've said it once or twice, but glad to have you here and meet all the commission members, actually, you meet a few other folks that, Julia, is a great point of continuity for us, we're very lucky to have her at work for staff for so long and now to be on the commission as well. We have chair and vice chair who have been here for years, and some other members who've been here for quite a while as well, and even new ones. Welcome, and, if you have any questions, or if you have any questions, we've just been onboarding for the last day or two, just going through a ton of stuff, permitting stuff, resiliency, sustainability, all kinds of things that, are in this umbrella, so if you have any questions, let us know, but we're just diving in.
Yeah, nice to meet everybody.
Same here.
Just to
Welcome.
meet them.
All right then.
The only thing I would mention, I guess, is, and we had a conversation actually, all three of us earlier today, just about a couple of things. One was, well, by the way, we were talking about NSCC trainings, which of course is always useful for us to staff, but we'll follow up with you as well, I think, for commission members on that piece too, to the extent you're available and want to go to some of these things, just as a reminder, you want to check on that. I mentioned that only because with our planning board and ZBA, I'm more often thinking of that with them going to similar training. So if you want to do any of that stuff, we can coordinate with, registrations or whatnot, if you're looking at those things. We also talked about, the resiliency brochure possibly going out again, not necessarily this, right now or this season, but possibly next year, sort of where we've spaced out a cycle of where it's gone out to the community and trying to get people to really understand these issues. We might update it a tweak from what it is, a few tweaks to it. I think it's a great format, but just updating a few tweaks we talked about. And then maybe, a year from now or in that season, it's going out again to the community. I'll just offer for myself that because we're gonna be probably rolling into a citywide master plan update, for the 2027 timeframe, surprise, or we're back there again. Because it should be, you would expect to be maybe like a common theme of some type, it actually be good ground for folks to have that sort of a reminder as we're diving into stuff like that, so that could be good. And then we also talked about the Plymouth brochure, which I think what we left it was we thought, at least staff wise, that we thought it would make sense to update that. We work with the ward counselor, for instance, and typically we're having this conversation about which ways are still there and make sense the alignments they have. Trying to remind people to stay off the dune grasses and all that, so we thought we would again update that, make sure the information is as accurate as possible, and have it essentially out there. Working with, say like water shore bills and whatnot, but get it out there to folks so that everybody in the island has it essentially before going into the next season. So again, that's something that we might give us sort of get into the habit of trying to do things on a regular basis with a few things like that. So that's another one that we talked about doing, maybe worth noting. And then the only other thing I was gonna mention was Rogers Court. This is relatively new, and I don't have all the details of the exact time frame, but we did talk about it briefly in the office. Was Rogers Court the subdivision development that we spent a lot of time on down by the river? I think Julia, you might have heard this. So apparently, I'll leave it to their filing coming forward, but as we understand it, talking on the zoning end with the zoning administrator, they may actually be coming back after all that to do we had about the lot down by the river and all the improvements down there and so, but they may actually be sort of retracting their plan and coming back to that being more of like, open space, so to speak, on the spectrum. I can't say what the specifics will be because of course we had to see what they present to us, but it looks like based on what they were trying to do there, they might have, decided to sort of scale back or, a little bit of that to the extent where the lot that was down by the river might not have another house on it, that it might be modified somehow. I don't want to get too far ahead with, speculation. I just want to give you a heads up that that may be coming back as a modification to the prior permit you were doing there and possibly actually reducing impact, so to speak, if you will, depending on what they're doing. So we'll see where that goes, but that was based on discussion with the zoning administrator, who gets sometimes an earlier idea where people might be going, based on what they'd have to, retract with permits. So that was flagged for us as something that might be coming back to the commission. So I just want to let you know that you might see that in our future agenda if they do that.
Is that, do you mean that they would, that one house lot that goes all the way down to the river where they have all that sort of open space? That would then be parceled off and it would be more of a joint ownership for everybody?
That's what that's
Yeah.
part of the detail that I think we need to flesh out a bit more of. And part of it actually goes to the whole reason one of the problems I think they were encountering was they hadn't really worked out. Remember they were talking about the access for the other lots. They were looking at it as like a complex, and their lots would go through there. And some of us, I sort of looked at it and was sort of like, well, how does that really work? Where do they go through?
Right.
I don't think they had really worked through all that in great detail. So here, I think some of that detail still needs to be worked out. Maybe it's less complicated with a scenario like this, but I do think they need to clarify some of that stuff for themselves and for all of us. Yeah. And that's all I can think of that.
All right. Well, this was a short meeting, just so you know.
No,
Expect them all. But do we have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
There it is.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Not that I want to be nitpicky, but just as a reminder, because you don't do this all the time, when folks are remote, you should do the roll call votes, just FYI. And it occurs to me now, I just want to note that I hate to call it a little small minutiae like this. What's it?
Yes, you do.
You don't fix all my problems. Good.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have a prep meeting before, so we could do that, yeah. Sorry, I had mentioned it, Julie was just mentioning, sorry, before we close out, I had mentioned at a prior meeting that some adjustments to how you do your agenda might make sense, or how you sort of sequence some things, so I thought it would make sense to have, because I only mentioned it glossing past it at a prior meeting, that we would talk, we would sort of, hiatus with the summer and everything, so that Joe and Steve, Kelsey and I can meet, we can talk to Julie as well, sort of continuity, but just to kind of see whether we can make some adjustments to how that, meeting agenda, it's not like significant things per se, but just to kind of make it, flow a little better, and we can walk through that.
Like
But-
putting the orders back.
Yes.
What's that?
Putting the orders.
Yeah, that was part of it. That was part of it. Yeah, it's just the way that, like, just in quick summary, the way that the meeting runs here is a little bit different than some of the other permitting boards, and I think it'd be good to kind of mimic what they're doing for a good reason. In a couple of places, if nothing else, only because it's a little bit disorienting for the general public, for applicants. When there's a hearing underway for something, and then, let's say there's 3 or 4 on a given night, for instance, and then all those matters are being continued to the end, they have to kind of keep track of which one's being discussed, where are they with it, what happened with it, is it being taken up tonight, do I get a vote, or where, so butters, for instance, don't necessarily know. The other thing, I think these are little, some minor things for the most part, just sort of shifting around, but another thing, generally speaking, that other boards would do is they'll put all their sort of informal or discussion type items at the tail end to do the public hearings first, since the applicants and the, butters and so forth are waiting. So things like that we think are beneficial, it's your meeting, but, there's another sort of anomaly, and I have no particular preference in this per se, but it's a little anomaly to have like a 6:45 start. I think that's always been the case since I've been here, so it just is what it is, but I offer to you guys whether you want to sort of pick like a standard time, like a 7 o'clock, whatever, but that just sort of stands out as an oddity, but again, we just try to offer for like efficiency, continuity, best practices that we see with like boards and commissions, you don't want to have some attorney arguing with some procedural thing because it was a, conflation or confusion between open, and closing a hearing, and when this discussion items were just, happening. You're discussing conditions later, and then the attorney for the applicant wants to weigh in again because they're concerned about conditions, and you've closed the public hearing. So I just, to try to avoid issues, it's a little easier if we just deal with each thing discreetly. And so I realize that is a limited adaptation, but shouldn't be a big deal, and it just might make the meetings work easier, including for the people who are attending.
Yeah, the 6:45 was to do the informal stuff.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
the-
right, that's right, that's right.
That's what it was.
That's right,
all
it was
doing-
for that
It
informal,
was, it was strictly for that, and then to
Right.
get into the
right.
real stuff
We
itself.
used to have times listed. Yeah.
Yes. And that was,
Used to come.
that was the intent of.
Yeah, that's right, that was the, and most boards, obviously for good reason, these days are, I remember like years ago, like some boards, other places, like, nobody actually puts down fixed times for the agenda items for hearings, everybody just listed at 7, because you never know exactly when you're gonna get
Yeah.
given items, you need to shuffle them. You don't wanna help yourself, have them up for half an hour and 45 minutes because of some, thing. So everybody just kind of does it this way, tries to follow the agenda, chair announces at the beginning, there's an adjustment to the schedule, sequence, just be kind of be oriented. Yeah, just a few tips that we thought might be helpful here, and we thought just to kind of, you might see a shifting of a few things in the agenda based on our discussion, so.
Yes, which is fine.
Not significant.
Makes sense.
Agreed.
Okay, well, in that case, since I did it wrong, we'll do a roll call. Janet Daisley,
Yes.
Julie Gottfredson.
Yeah.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Barbara Riley,
Yes.
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Can we go now?
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.